I think everyone is full of life potential and wonder beyond beauty, power beyond description. I want to clarify, eliminate hate through understanding. This could exalt every human. That's the vision. Every human, I think, wants to work. Every human, I think, wants to work, express themselves, pour out their being, however you want to say it. We're just a little frustrated, bitter, whatever, from culture past. Let's choose to heal together. Let's choose to live together. This is the next steps in order to do that. Let's believe in each other. Let's believe in each other's work. Let's confirm each other's work and validate each other's worthiness of life by selling and trading and being the life to each other's economy. A world connected and interacting together and celebrating together and giving life to each other. Let's believe that we humans know we can change everything. We know we can create this magic in this life more than the movies. Together we can daily go beyond whatever it was with the realer love daily understood, expressed. Respect will be natural. We just have pain from the past. What we blank all too much to write. Let's believe. You shall all there. No, you're still all there, no matter what has tried to dwindle you down. Yes, I know this is going to be competition and all that. Yes, I know competition. This will drive it. This will drive it even more, way more. People will be competing on a totally different level. Everyone could enjoy the benefits, those who have now and those who don't. And enjoy all different cultures or what makes us all unique. Understanding this will cause naturally every human to be beyond math, multiply, and productivity. Excited about every day, no matter what age. Excited, more driven, more natural drive beyond math. Eliminate as soon as possible self-harm and self-hate and self-destruction from self. Those who are isolated by undescribable have such potential and are working humans that do work. They work because they're a human. And this is the next possible feasible steps to help them to generate a momentum towards even more productivity daily. 15 different people find each other from around the world, develop unique clothing. They all work at different clothing lines and they give percentages to those places that they currently work, and other percentages are distributed naturally to those who are working on the project. They make clothing items that they're actually passionate about and they sell them, and then those companies that they currently work for, it's not connected in a certain way, but it's connected to where they'll make money from it and all the people involved, and they will continue to work wherever they want to work. Same thing with car developers. 27 different people from around the world all work at different car developers, but they can only do what they can do. But they say, well, I'm passionate about it enough to where I want to make a racetrack slash let's make cars. Let they all design 3 different unique cars that they think would be absolutely massive sellers on the marketplace, and they end up being that, and then ends up making all the current places that they work percentages distributed smartly and effectively, and it makes all those car companies excessively amounts more, and the people involved, it gets them ecstatic and actually awakens a part of them and releases a part of them of their true passions for automotive, what they got into the industry in the first place, to work together to sell it unique vehicles, and or maybe they create a racetrack in Brazil and market it every race. Video sells, and video sells for $2, and then they sell that to 50 people the first race, 250 the next race, and 100,000 the next race. and 700,000 the next race, and etc. Wild kinetic people like me could find each other throughout the world and develop cool surf skate vids daily that sell for like $5 to $2 or something, and say somebody's 10 years old and they do this, and it gives them real hope in what they do, and say that it validates that they're a working human being, that they just work because they are a human being, and you were made good, and what you do is cool, and other people around the world validate that, and they can rate it on their board, whatever their everybody will have a sort of a inventory of what they purchased and how they rate it, and then they can promote it in all sorts of ways to whoever they work with or trade with or whoever they interact with at any time during the game. In your own developed domain, if you're a industry, if you're an active developer in this, you can have your own developed domain where you can sell your own crafts, arts, teaching, literature, music, athletic videos, car race videos, comedy, start a show, etc. Endless space domain, different space domain kingdoms with complex and visual kingdoms and cultures for individuals to visit, such as an ice world, a water world, a forest world, a fire world, a psych world, a music world, a food world, an architecture world, etc., a desert world. And in all these worlds, you can just have fun at, and there'll be more than enough to do at each of the worlds. There'll be beautiful and immediate shipping of items, drop stations in local places, pickup of items when delivered, payments go through when seller drops an item at the local station, trade global free-flowing trade. Simple payment screen that doesn't feel like, oh no, it feels like it's just it is what it is. You can have a picture of what you're trading, a short vid, a clear description. Here's what it is. Here's what, and whoever you're trading with, you can just agree to trade or not to trade. And as you do, and active developers will have an account that could be connected to desiring banks who want to work with us, and its early stages. And as it progresses, a unique card of the website will be shipped to you that you can use anywhere, and is like a real card, debit card, whatever, and any person can explore the space of the site with or without being an active developer. Say if you're not, if you're just wanting to check out the site, you log into the website. It's whatever name is called WebVI right now. And you'll get a random spaceship generated for you. Active developers have a complex, amazing way of creating your own spaceships. Everybody who has an active developer will not only have a spaceship, but it will have a kingdom and a domain that they can decorate and use as a marketplace additionally. You can trade and sell if you're an active developer, and you cannot if you're not. Just to start this thing out, I was thinking of prices from 3 to 5, 10 to 20 bi-monthly or monthly. For example, you could get into different clans that you could go on different missions, and say you heard there's a migration of a certain fish that costs this much in the desert kingdom area of this particular city in the desert world, that you've posted on a wall in the desert world, and there's about 7 other people that are interested in getting in on the money, and they would go to the ice world where this migration of this animal happens at a certain season and time, and you hunt it down, and that ends up being a lot more than you could have ever imagined. You actually lose 3 members of the party, and they are it's a success for the rest of them, and they make a lot of money off of it by selling it to those desiring in the desert world. Say there's people in the forest world who don't like to go to the desert world, but there's a lot of sort of literal resources, elements that are there that they will pay good money for if you get them and transport them to them and find them there in the forest world. Because in the forest world, it'd be hard to find anyone. Just be a big world mostly covered in forest, and the people who live there like it that way. They will be living in the trees, and they're good with animals. They love literature. They love nature. They interact with it in a unique way. The cities in the forest world will be something like a clothing market, a tavern, a supply area, supply shop for building, and that's pretty much it. There'll be a school of life at the forest world that will be very beneficial to find and to learn from. Most of the world in this world is at peace. The people there are very smart and shrewd. Beautiful complex home and walkways in the trees. Wood people. They love adventure. They love music. They love literature and the arts, etc. The water world. Very rough seas, frequent storms, and most of the world, anywhere that you land, you're going to need to have either word from wherever you hear from it, from random people you talk to, or from people that you meet in whatever world. You're going to need coordinates to find some of the cities, most of the cities. One of the cities is going to, and probably the largest, is the easiest to find because it's the nearest to the surface of the water. You'll be able to see its glow from over top the surface, at least the parts of it. But even to find that, you need to know the coordinates, unless you're flying around for like an hour around the world, and you find it that way too, I guess. But there'll be at least 4 other cities, and all of them are unique and interesting, and a couple of them incredibly difficult to get to, and maybe one of them impossible to get to unless you transport there through the psych world. And all of them are going to be having unique people who live there. And say the first city, the most major city, has all sorts of trade and activities that you could get into different groups with people and take on adventures of battling different sea creatures, or just gathering sea creatures, fishing for them in a sort of way. Can build overwater and underwater sea boats from people there, are very skilled at doing so. Absolutely beautiful coral reef areas with peaceful roaming for most part. Catch sea creatures for supplies like oil, foods, pigments, and meds. Underwater sea ships can be purchased / bartered for at all 3 cities, and they're all different. Slaying sea monsters that have major rewards from the city people. Mysterious areas in the sea regions like the Triangle. Gain seafaring reputation and fame with all accomplishment. Gaining a relationship with sea people is going to help you in many ways. There's going to be a fire world that is representative of hell in a way, and is going to be hellish creatures there that are grotesque beyond kind of things that have inspired other people to make art, and things that you wonder how those people even have that imagination. Well, those are going to be expressed in the fire world, and you're going to need to train a lot in order to go to the fire world and be successful, though there's going to be incredibly awesome treasures and rewards in the fire world. Say you get a clan together who's trained in one various 3 at least dojos in the psych world, is where you're going to learn how to fight and what sort of style of person you're going to be. More of the light, more of the dark. More of the light, you see the dark world in a completely different way. You actually are fighting monsters that are representative and kind of, you'll be able to understand it. It'll be almost like you visually seeing what has caused bad things that have happened in the world and that still happen in the world, and you'll literally see the monsters that are involved in that. As you train in the psych world, if you become more of the light, and then same thing if you become more of the light, battling in the fire world is going to be a lot better for you. There's going to be a music world um, where the frequency spectrum you could grab onto and use and force and pull this and that way to create, and then release, and the whole keyboard and the mouse is involved with the release, creating sound and colors, painting the world, your own world. Unique about the music world and the food world is every person has their own unique one, whereas all the other worlds is just like there's only one dark worlds, for example, and only one fire world, for example. And I think actually I'm considering, and I don't know for sure about the psych world, if everybody will have their own psych world additionally that they can I think so, that they're gonna discover and reveal things in their own way, in their own time. Speaking of the psych world, it will have crystal caverns, incredible beauty, maybe an ocean of psych ocean, music involved in the ocean, reverberating, and etc. There'll be mermaids, why not? There'll be 2 to 3 martial art dojos with different unique martial art masters at those dojos where you will learn the way of the light. Maybe one of them is the contrary. More of the music world, you can be able to, like, in order to create music, you could just choose different key registers, different scales that you want to kind of manipulate this frequency spectrum of in order to create music. And as you're creating music, your things will just sort of like materialize. If you create a sort of tune, and it'll materialize as a healing balm or a certain super weapon, and maybe even clothes or things that your character can use in the game, and other things like even weapons or vehicles. If you're really like a Picasso of music and you create something very complex, and the game will reward you for that. There's going to be a science world with the magnificent city of science where people can learn advanced techniques in mixing of fuels for weapon metals, different materials, calculations for such, etc. Chemistry mixing of elements in the worlds involves, it'll be fun. Every element has similar components that are the foundation, but each of them are unique. So you'll see some that you can kind of grab hold of this there. Oh, that's a unique. I'll twirl that over with this and then see what happens, and it'll be fun like that. There'll be an actual mixing area, not only in the science world, but they'll be very difficult to find in other worlds. There's a lot of fuels in this world, in the science world, or a lot of elements that you can harvest for fuels. In the dark world, like I said, you will, if you're more of the light, you will see like conjugation, like clouded darkness areas, some areas that look like, whoa, there's really a lot going on there. And you can kind of get intel and from various other worlds, and you hear from some person in the desert world, this part of the world is really dealing with this, and this, and if you want to go on a venture to try to battle that, here's the rewards. In the desert world also, they'll reward you in the world, the ice world and the water world, because it has some connection to all of those and affects those in all of those in a way that's very complex, and but it mostly visualized. You'll see it in the dark world when you conquer a certain region. The atmosphere will literally change and become beautiful, and you can fight through forest areas, cities, train yards, farmlands, neighborhoods, and as you're more of the light, you will see literal monsters that have tendencies and natures and have things that they tend to do and they have done for a long time, um, causing different people to hate each other, causing cultural holds, causing um, this and that. And as you are actually fighting these things, and you'll the actual combat will be incredibly satisfying. Each of the creatures, each body part is removable, and um, for example, say you're battling some area that you've gotten recon that there's these certain creatures that tend to be there, and as you go in there with a squad of 7 that you've trained and you've planned this attack on this certain farmhouse, and one of the guys is more developed in physical hand-to-hand combat. He goes to the top of the stairwell and grabs one of these creatures and uses momentum swinging and throws it over the railing, and it hits the ground so hard that the head dismembers, as well as some of the teeth go flying and into a couple of the other monsters with sort of digital power help with that, where you'll be able to say real quick, like just like you can, based on how you throw it, you can it'll kind of like have a quick screen of like angles, and then like your choice of like you threw it purposefully, and if you choose the right angles of the secondary reaction, then you could get a cool thing happen where its teeth, because it has big old teeth, go flying into another monster that's on the first floor and takes care of that guy. So body parts unique, and all the combat will be very satisfying, and can have weapons like warhammers, and there'll be a light world that is probably the most undeveloped idea that I have, but of washing brilliant light frequency spectrum, visual splitting the light spectrum, city like no other, good creatures beyond description, wonderful. I think it will be just kind of an idea expressed of how do you get to the light world, and like when you look everywhere you look, you'll kind of like you see different frequency spectrum, or like movement of the frequency spectrum that you can't really describe. In the desert world, Mad Max is in that people enjoy to drive their created Land Cruisers and etc. And there will be demolition derbies that are happening there all the time. That's a major part of the economy in the desert world. In the major cities, there's several cities, but the majors, 2 of the major cities, huge part of what's going on there is races and demolition derbies. So you'll get to race and do various different missions for automotive sort of people. There's going to be various cool places that you can visit, like caves that have luminescent things, and maybe there's places in the desert world and deep caves that have cities, and that are actually have teleportation to other worlds, like the ice world and the water world, that you can't get to those places if you don't transport there from these unique places in the desert world. thing about this is that you're gonna, as you're playing the game, um, some of the rewards and the money is actual money that you're making. So the missions that you're doing with people, most of them will probably it's gonna encourage cooperation. A lot of the missions will be difficult to do on your own. Um, Food world will be, I think everybody will have their own food world that you'll be able to search throughout your world, harvest fruits, vegetables, spices, peppers, grains, rices, wines, beers, gins, rums, and whiskeys are all things that you can use in your cooking. And the cooking will be fun. You'll have a little kitchen and literally grab your mouse and fling it around and swing it and see the oil fly and see the food tossed here and there. And the things that you create are going to be um, kind of transferred into a sort of other elemental way of uh, launching it with your own personal catapult into space, and people visually see the results of your brilliant food production expressed in almost like fireworks out around your and radiating from your food world. Um, Crafting the world through their, also it's going to craft their own food. It's going to visually be expressed in the food world itself. Amazing combinations and colors in the world that have never been seen, maybe that they just like it, then they just like throw it in the air and it's like an epic love story song to somebody in the universe. It's expression of love. A lot of people say that about their cooking, and it's an expression of emotion. Say you are wanting to use bases like grains and fish, want to make breads, flour, and all those things you can harvest in your own world as you find them. You could have a pan and mouse controls is heck of fun, throwing food in there and watching, mixing spices and peppers and etc. Have a chemistry sort of view of the items that you can kind of like real quick, choo 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 choo. The uh, the general composition of a squash is the same for all squashes, but there's differences that you'll be able to see, like, oh, that has that element over here, here, and over there instead of over there. I'm going to do a little zippity doo dah and see what happens. This idea is that it's the idea of what you've always wanted the internet to be, what you always wished you could log into. Nowadays, you feel like, there's only this, and that, and it pretty much. But like, think back to when you first heard about the internet, and you were just logging on the internet. Like, what's there? What could be there? What's going on? What website could I find? This is that website, because it's going to reward the person literally with things that they create in real life, interacting and finding people from around the world that they may never have interacted with or found, and those persons validating them in their work, and you validating them in their work, and trading those things, buying those things from them, and an easy, quick process. Also, just having then you become your friend. Like, let's do a quest at the desert world. Let's just go do a quest at the ice world. Let's make a moving building at the architecture world. That's a world that I'm most excited about, the architecture world. Let's make a building that's an underwater club that swims around, and we'll invite some people from India. We'll invite some people from Cambodia. We'll invite some people from Liberia, and we'll get together and we're gonna create this. And then, oh, you have a stand that you sell all your crafts and all your stuff to tourists. Well, that's awesome. Like, how much do you? Oh, I'm not gonna ask a question. I'm just gonna buy everything you have on the stand. And that person's like, excuse me? Yes, I want to buy all the t-shirts and all the things that you craft and you sell, with the main economic outlet is through tourism. Well, I just want to buy it all, and then I'm going to tell all my friends in my database about, and I have about 2,790 something, and tell them all about it, and I'll give you all 5 stars for everything, because it actually is pretty amazing. All these things that you, except this one thing, I'll give it 4 star. Um, and then, and then that person in Liberia that has a stand, they're like, I just sold out my whole stand. No, I've got orders for, I've got 780 orders from random people, with wanting this, and that, and the other. Generates an incredible amount of uh, um, validation to that person, first of all, and just saying your work is good. We're validating it. It's other humans from around the world validating each other's work on a different level, and then them producing on another level, and it also causing a multiplication beyond multiplication of that person rising up to a different level and being encouraged, and then rising up and becoming even better at all those things that they did. And then the next 4 weeks, all those people that they send those other things to, they all have people, and they all send invites and say how good that person in Liberia's crafts are. That person in Liberia gets an order for 2,700 different things, and each of them are like plus minus $10, and they're like, okay, I'm making some money now. This is just the foundation, the skeleton of a website that you can log into. There's places I've been, third world places that I've been, that there's a lot of internet cafes. You could just log in to the internet cafe. You buy 2 hours, and you log into the website. You spend 2 hours meeting people, and then putting your stuff up for trade or sell. And the next time next couple hours, you notice that actually you have like 2 requests. People want to buy your poetry, and you're selling it for $4. And then boom, you do it. It's an easy, quick process. It takes you like 20 minutes maybe to do the whole thing, to actually do that thing, and then you can send it out, literally mail it, send it off. Somebody who is in another part of the world, they go to a library and they can use the internet for free and do this thing, or people from their personal computers. Say you want to become an active developer, and in that case of a person who wants to be an active developer, they already have a business online that's very successful, and they're like, I want all of my weight additionally on here. And that's cool. You're going to benefit from it. It'll just be a new, beautiful opportunity for interacting with even more people in a unique way, and them seeing you in a completely unique way, giving you the clean slate to present yourself to them differently, and again and again and again, and actually personally go on different quests and be like, whoa, a person from that company actually went on a little quest with me to the ice world one time. That meant something, etc. And people are going to be so excited about every day, no matter what age. This is for people of all ages, people who are young, who are ambitious, who are like, I want to be a millionaire, and I want to buy, my family doesn't have the nicest place, I want to buy them a house. That's what I'm going to do. And they're a skater, and they start selling their skate videos for $2, and then within 4 months they get 200 orders from various places around the world because they're good and they're funny and they're just interestingly cinematographized. And so that young person within 2 years, maybe less, buys their family a house, buys themselves a house, etc. Invests even further. They start investing in a bunch of different businesses and says, you know what, I want to go to a different level of wealth. I don't, and I enjoy it in a different way. I just want to be a part of the world. I just want to interact with humans. I just want to interact with these people in different businesses. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like, how cool would that be to interact with all these different businesses? And that person now is 12 years old and they're interacting with all these different businesses because they've invested about $250,000 in this one. They invested $390,000 in this one. They invested $575,000 in this one. And they're excited about every day. They don't have problems with depression. They don't have problems with a lot of problems that you might think of. They don't have them for whatever reason. And then a bunch of older people who feel like they're out. They've been told they're out. They've been told they're done in various different ways, just by not being hired, and by people not directly but indirectly saying like, maybe you should think of other things. But those people, those same people, that what they do, maybe they're poets, maybe they're actually super good at mechanical and they make mechanical videos. They're funny too. This person's 86 and they do this, that, and the other. And then they never thought that they could generate, and from what they generate, travel the world like they've longed to all 86 years of their lives. And that dream becomes a reality because this platform allows them to interact with people and companies and businesses on an easy way, on a way that doesn't feel like you're just running into walls all the time, and like it's frustrating. It's just frustrating because you can't get anything going. You can't get anything going. This will be like, no, it is what it is. That person that you see and you log on the website, you're not even an active developer. You log in the website, you get a random spaceship, you fly to the desert world, and then there's all these people, and you start talking to them, and then you're like, hey, join us for this thing. We're going to the ice world. We're going to harvest these fish, and then we're going to sell it over here at the desert world. That person end up talking, and this couple of them are architects, and they're like, I've always wanted to do architecture. And they're like, okay, well, join us also for we're doing a little project at 4 o'clock. That's, I don't know, 12 o'clock your time. They meet up at the architecture world. They do it. They're like, this guy is doing stuff we have never even seen. He's expressing a crazy level of talent. Let's do another thing and maybe we'll see what happens. And then they end up 3 projects later, they hire him and they fly him out to a certain place, and that person's life's completely changed, and etc. All these things will be possible and very easy to do. It won't be it'll be fluid, and the conversation screen and process, it will be awesome. It will be kind of like you can use your mouse to do kind of emotive things, like using the mouse and the keyboard involved at the same time, to where you'll be able to express, and it'll be more than just like typing. And with the mouse, you'll be able to, there'll be almost like a color palette of your emotions, and you can grab this and this and that, and then like you're heaving these words but with this emotion, and like it'll be a different level of communication. It'll be just kind of like, it'll just kind of float next to the character's digital body. Maybe that's all up in the process.